Hi crafters, this is Nye over at All Things Were Created. Today I have a video tutorial for you on how to cut the Christmas lights on Picket fence SVG cut file. It was a little bit more complicated to cut, and I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to articulate it correctly in a written tutorial. Plus, I thought that a video tutorial would be a bit more helpful because then you could pause and you could also follow along with me. I'm going to be using Cricut Design Space as my cutting software. If you're using Silhouette Studio, that's totally fine. The steps are going to be basically the same. So let's get started. First thing is first, open up your software. Make sure that you're on a blank new canvas. And then you're going to want to come over to the left side of your screen and scroll down until you find the upload button and then click it. It's going to take you to your upload menu. You want to click upload image. And then what we want to do is find where the file downloaded on our computer or our device. Sometimes it can get the machines that we use, the computers that we use will get tricky and they'll put them in various places. So you just want to click browse and then find where the file is located on your device. Once you find the file, you want to look for the file that has the HTML icon. And it also has SVG at the end of the file name. Click that and then click open, and you will get a upload preview image on your screen. You can see the image there, the file and the different elements there, and then you want to just click upload to bring it actually into your Design Space account and into your folder there. You can scroll a little bit to find the item and then select it and then click add to canvas. The software will bring it onto the canvas. Oh, that's weird. It did it double. So I'm going to delete that and then go back and redo it. That was odd. And then click add to canvas. And there we go. Okay, that was really odd. All right, we'll bring it onto the canvas and you can see that it's a pretty large file. It measures a little over 14.5 inches in width and a little over 10 inches in height. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see everything because sometimes I like to do that. I like to be able to see what all the different elements are at once. And I'm going to cut this in sections and in pieces. I'm not going to try and do it all the way straight through. It'll get a little complicated. But I'm going to cut some of the smaller pieces first. So what I'm going to go through and do is my first step is to ungroup the file. Once you bring it in, it's all grouped together as one big gigantic file. You're going to need to just select it, select the file, and then go over underneath layers and select ungroup once, just for now, because we're going to ungroup as we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the actual layers of the fence in the background because I'm not going to cut those out yet. So I'll use the scroll bar underneath the layers panel on the right side of my screen and scroll all the way down until I can find the fence post and the fence elements. And I can see it's now come up. I'm going to come over and find the eyeball and click it, and it hid that one section. And I'm going to scroll a little bit further until I see the rest of it, and I'm going to click that and hide that section. So what I'm left with now is the sign, the lights, the holly, and the bow pieces. I am actually going to hide the Mary sign as well. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top, and I'm going to hide that piece as well by selecting the eyeball. And now I'm going to begin to rearrange things on my mat, because what I like to do is cut on as few mats as possible. I just prefer that for time measurements. So I'm going to select this bow and I'm going to bring it over here as close to the edge as possible. I'm going to grab the next one and stagger it just a little bit. And I am also going to take this holly and move it up. So the holly is grouped together, but because I don't want it to cut so far apart like how it is, obviously I won't be able to because it's greater than my 12-inch cardstock. I'm going to select it and then I'm going to come over underneath layers and I'm going to click ungroup as well so I can bring it a little closer together. And then I'm going to select them both and just move them over here as I begin to situate things. And then I will click the lights. The lights are grouped together as one element as well. I'm going to come back over underneath the layers panel, and now I'm going to ungroup those. And I'm going to select the red lights because I want them to be cut up here with my red bow. So I selected them. I'm going to drag them up. Those are also grouped together. I am going to go over again and ungroup them so that way I can smush them in and make them closer together. So that way they cut without wasting a lot of cardstock. I'm going to try and move this one, whoops, up a little bit. Nope, I'm going to leave it where it is. I thought maybe I could fit it in there, but I can't. So I'm just going to smush everything in here. And then I'm also going to select the green part of the lights. I'm going to move those up here. And again, I'm going to ungroup those as well so I can smush them in and make it a tight fit. So I don't use a lot of cardstock because cardstock is money. So again, I'm just bringing everything in closer. I'm getting close to my 12-inch line here. So I'm going to bring this one under here just a little bit. Now the green vine parts of the lights, I'm not going to be able to cut this at this time. So I'm going to hide that one. I'm going to move this green element because I know that there's one, or I'm sorry, the black element. I know there's another green vine underneath. So I selected it and then I'm going to hide that one as well. And now I'm going to take the black pieces, the black bulbs, and I'm going to bring them up around the 6-inch mark and bring this one here as well. And now I'm going to take my holly and I'm going to bring it back in over here as well. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit so in case I can smush things in a little bit further. My computer is being a little tricky with me. And I can see my 3-inch mark right here. This is going to be my 3-inch line. So I can see it right there. And everything looks fairly good. I'm going to take the black and move them up just a little bit more as well because my machine will kick it off and put it on a 12-inch by 24 mat, and I don't want that to happen. Wouldn't be a big deal, but I don't want it to happen. Okay, so everything looks good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually set up my cardstock, this cardstock on my light blue light grip cutting mat. And I'm going to cut a piece of red cardstock that's going to measure 6 inches by 6 inches, which is going to go in the upper left corner of my mat. I'm going to do a green piece of cardstock that will be 6 inches wide by 3 inches high for the green lights. I'm going to do another one in a darker green, so 6 inches by 3 inches, and that will be for my holly. And then I will also do a black piece of cardstock at 12 inches by 6 inches high for the bottom part of the lights. So this setup looks good. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit and wait for my computer. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mouse and I'm going to drag a box around all the different elements. And then I will right click inside the box and select the attach button. And it's going to change everything to red because my computer and my software doesn't know that I'm going to be rearranging the cardstock on my light blue mat to match what it previously looked like. And now that I know it's attached, I'm going to click Make It. And I get my mat preview screen. I can see that everything looks good. It's the way I want by using the scroll bar to scroll up and down so I can see it. I can see that it's also going to do the basic cut, which is what I want. My mat size is a 12-inch by 12-inch. I don't need to mirror. And then I'm going to click Continue. And I'm going to wait for my machine to connect because it worked. And I'm actually going to cut in the cardstock, the medium cardstock 80-pound cut setting. I only need my fine point blade. I'm going to go load the machine into my mat, and when I get my blinking light, I'm going to click Go, and I will meet you back at the mat so we can do the next part. Okay, so I finished my cut and everything went beautiful. I will say that the holly cut it worked okay, but I can see that if it shreds for you, you might just need to cut this one separately on a more delicate cut, a slower blade speed. It did work fine for me, but if it doesn't for you, then you might just need to slow down that section. You might just need to slow down the cut for that one. So now that I'm back on my mat and ready to cut my next pieces, I'm going to come over to the upper left corner of my screen, and this time I'm actually going to click undo so I can get all of the colors of my file back. And so I like to cut, after I make a cut, I like to delete the pieces that I cut because I have been known to cut things twice because I did not realize it. So I am going to go through now and I'm going to unhide the next pieces that I'm going to cut, which I know will be the sign. And I just want to unhide one part of it, and I'm going to go through now and delete the pieces that I did cut. So I just selected them all and then I'm just deleting and deleting. I'm also now going to cut the green part of the vines. So I'm going to unhide those as well by just selecting the eyeball again in the layers panel. And I'm going to bring up the green vine close to the top, both of them. I'm going to situate them one underneath another and just as close as possible, but not too close that it might shred. And then I'm also going to grab the sign and bring it over. The sign is grouped together. So after I have it selected, I'm going to select ungroup once. And I can see that it ungrouped. And then I'm going to take the upper one and I'm just going to bring it down there. Okay. So what I will need now for this second mat is green cardstock that is 12 inches wide by 3 inches high, a piece of black cardstock that is 6 inches wide by 3 inches high, and another piece of brown cardstock that is also 6 inches wide by 3 inches high. When I'm ready, I'm going to put these together on my mat so that way it matches what's here on my screen. I'm going to zoom out a little bit again, and I'm going to take my mouse and drag a box around these elements to select them all. Right click in the box and then again select the button attach. I can see that everything is attached because it's all changed to one color, even though my mat is not all going to be that color. And then I'm going to click make it again. I can see everything on my mat preview. It looks the way that I want on my mat. It matches the cardstock arrangement on my cutting mat, my screen. I can see that it does the basic cut. Again, my mat size is 12 inch by 12 inch. And I'm going to click continue and wait again for my machine to connect with my computer. Okay, there it goes. So once again, I'm going to be cutting on the medium cardstock 80-pound cut setting. I'm going to load my cutting mat into my machine, and when it blinks at me, I'm going to click the go button. And I will again meet you back on the mat, on the canvas. Okay, that was my second mat that cut. And once again, I'm back now on my canvas. Everything had worked out well. I'm going to come back up to the upper left of my screen and click the undo button again so I can get my colors back. And what I have left to cut now is the fence. So I'm going to come back to my scroll or my layers panel and scroll a little bit and just unhide the back panel, the back fence posts. And I'm going to select the vines and delete those so I don't recut them. And what I want to do now is I'm actually going to cut the white picket fence part first. And I'm going to cut the light post and the back of the fence on another mat because I'm going to rearrange the white pieces so that way they fit on one 12 by 12 inch white cardstock instead of two 8.5 by 11 white cardstock sheets. So I have unhidden that, but I'm going to now go back over to the layers panel and hide the back elements except for the white. I'm going to do that for the other side, unhide it, and then hide the back part of the elements. And now I'm also going to need to ungroup these. So I selected it and then clicked ungroup. I'm going to do that for the left side. I think I have to come back up here to select it and select the whole thing and then click ungroup. And I'm going to zoom up. I'm going to move my, okay, there we go. It wasn't selecting. I'm going to move this up, and I'm going to rotate it by coming up here to the rotate toolbar 90 degrees. So I'm going to make that a 9, add a 9, and then click enter, and it rotated it for me. I'm going to grab this second fence, and I'm going to rotate this a negative 90 degrees, so negative, and then 9, and there is my negative 90. And then I'm also going to flip this one by coming to the flip menu and selecting the drop down arrow and selecting flip vertical. And what I can do now is I'm going to again just smush it in and bring it as close as possible without allowing any sections to overlap. So that way I use up minimal cardstock. I have minimal cardstock waste. All right, I'm going to bring this one down just a little bit because I can't tell if that's just my computer screen. Okay, it looks good. So again, I'm going to take my mouse and drag a box around both of these elements, right click, select attach, and then click make it. I can see my mat preview. Everything looks good. It's lined up correct. So I'll only need one white 12-inch by 12-inch cardstock. Everything looks good there. I've got basic cut, my mat size. I'm going to click continue again and now wait for my machine to connect. Okay, there it goes. I'm cutting this again on my medium cardstock setting. I'm going to load my mat into my machine. When I get my blinking arrow, I'm going to select go, and then I'll go and meet you back on the canvas for the last cut. Okay, so I am back. Everything cut beautifully. I'm going to come back over, select my canvas, click undo, and now I'm just going to cut the rest by unhiding the remaining elements and deleting the white of my fence. I'm going to unhide the right side. I've got 6 more pieces to go. I can see them here. This time I don't need to click attach on anything because all of these pieces, these 6 remaining pieces, are going to need to be cut in their own individual 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. So I don't need to do anything else. I'm here. I'm just going to click make it. My software is going to prepare 6 mats for me. I can come over and use the scroll bar here so I can see that yes, everything will fit in an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. And then I can come over to the project copies menu side, and I can use the scroll bar there to take note of the order of how my machine prepared it. So I can see that my first 4 mats here of the 6 that I'm going to need are all going to be the black layer. So I'll need to prepare them with black 8.5 by 11 sheet cardstock. And then my last 2 cuts will be for the orange, or for the yellow, not orange. So I'll need 6 more mats, 6 pieces of cardstock, 4 black and 2 yellow. Everything looks good. I do want to make sure that if I have clicked any of these other mats here, I do want to make sure that I go all the way back up to 1, so that way my machine will start with the cut on mat 1. Everything looks good now. I'm going to click continue. I'm ready to go. Wait for my machine to connect again. That takes forever. Okay, it's ready to go. So once again, I can check by using the scroll bar here the order of my my colors of my mats, and I can tell I need 4 black first and then 2 yellow. It's good to go. I'm going to load the first one into my machine. When I get my go button, I'll click go, and then I'll do the next one, which will be another black, until I finish. Once I've completed everything else, I'm going to meet you back over at my table, and we'll go through the assembly.